Taking all the fun out of it.
What's that, Angela?
Taking all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Hey, if you have something you got to say, you just say it.
All right.
So don't have, most of the time, if you've attended these before, we don't really come into these with a heavy agenda. We like to allow free time for people to ask questions, or if there's something that's going on that you need some assistance with or whatever. We like to let a big portion of the time open for that. We do try to keep them to an hour. So that way we're kind of conscious of everybody's time. So, but just a couple things more, calling them out for dates and whatnot, just in case you haven't seen them. So we've got the unhappy hour. We passed out those boxes at Winter Board, and just wanted to kind of put that out there that it's coming up. 3/12 is unhappy hour. So hopefully you're local, or if you're doing a district wide, I know some of them do districts. Hopefully you're planning in that, because it's not far from now. I know that Juniata, we're doing our Chamber of Commerce, they do an after hours, and we were lucky enough to nab the March after hours, and we're gonna use that as our whole, like the whole chamber is gonna be invited. So I'm really excited about that, and excited to get that box out and use all the goodies that were in it. So hopefully everybody else is kind of in the planning mindset for that too. Um, just wanted to kind of give an update too on the equal pay rally. When these schedules don't come out too far in advance. So we were on it like right away. Excuse me, but unfortunately, with the senators and representatives only in so many times a month, we were not able to get the rotunda, or I'm sorry, I guess it's the Capitol steps. We were not able to reserve that around equal pay. So we're looking at some alternate dates. We'd still like to have a rally. It just won't be around as close to equal pay as we'd like. So more to come, but just wanted to kind of give an update on that. Also wanted to put out there that Winter Board, the registration is open on the website, and we will be joining together. Some people come in on that Friday evening, so that's March 1st. And we are going to be putting out very soon, probably by the end of this week, what we're going to be doing for the networking event for Friday night. So kind of keep an eye out for that. But the registration, like I said, is open for the board meeting on March 2nd. If you've never attended, I would encourage you to come out. It kind of gives you an idea of what happens at a state level and what we vote on and what we discuss. And of course, right behind that is convention, and that is June 6th through 9, and it'll be in Harrisburg. The convention registrations are also open. So just wanted to kind of
You froze.
She just wanted to remind you all of that while we're all here. I'm gonna text her and let her know she's frozen. I'm sure she notices, but hold on a second. And the other thing that Michelle had on her list was to talk about the contest that are going to be coming up: issues management, PR, legislation, all of the contests that the districts and locals submit that are judged at state convention. So really, if we could start with that, if anybody has any questions, we could field them, and then we can go into other questions that anybody may have about upcoming things or ideas that you need. I think Michelle is jumping back in.
My internet has been dropping me off and on all day, so
There she.
I don't know
Whoa.
if it's the weather. I don't know.
So Michelle, I finished your sentence from when you froze. And I said, and Michelle wanted to remind everybody of this. And then I talked just a little bit about the contest entries coming up to see if anybody had any questions about that.
Yep. All right. Good. Yeah. So those are our little friendly reminders of uh this for this meeting. Are there any questions or anything we can do to help out with any of these topics? I think most of you have all been through this so many times that you probably could just run the whole thing yourself. But
Oh, kid,
little cat's there.
yes,
Hey.
this is Buddy. He likes to
Mm.
come say hi to everybody. He's my lap cat. Well, if there's no questions, anything on your mind, anything that you need some help with, whatever, let's just
Okay.
open it up.
I have a question, but it's not related to contests or anything like that.
That's quite all right, Mary. You go right ahead.
I would just like some input from some other uh LOs as to their website. We're struggling with fees and like I understand you need security and hosting. It just seems like it's getting quite expensive. And then the maintenance of the information that's out there. I'm just trying to get a handle on what my options are to make our website look good and not be extremely expensive. So any insight anybody can give me would be appreciated.
I will say, Latrobe has a site and District 3 has a site, and I do both of those. And it is labor intensive with keeping up with making sure that information is updated and relevant. I think that's the biggest challenge with a lot, aside from the cost. It can be costly, but there are programs out there if you have members who are familiar with how to do the back end of that and get the information posted. We have ours through Wix, and I was able to get a deal right now. They have 50% off their premium plans, and I was able to get 3 years, including our domain name, for like $200.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, and it
nice.
was kind of an accident because I thought that it auto renewed and it didn't. And so for a couple days, our website was down. And then when I went on to look at it, then I noticed they were having that sale. And so I was able to get that really good deal. And we used to have like the SSO security on our website. But if you're not taking money over your website, that's not necessarily something you really need. So I would investigate that. I don't know if you have anyone in your local or community who maybe could give you some advice on that. I will say that in order to get our websites up and going, we did pay someone to create them. And then now I just maintain them because I just didn't have time to do all that back work because it is, like I said, it is labor intensive. So if you have a little bit of money that you can have someone help you build it, and then maintaining it is a little less expensive.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We are
Sure.
built and we are up and running. It's just we don't have any members that have the skills, myself included. You don't want me in your website. We don't have any members that have the time or knowledge to do the back end work. So now we're looking to pay somebody to do the maintenance of it.
Mhm.
Who do you use
But I
for
will
your
look. I will
website?
look into Wix. I will look into Wix. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Pardon
who is your website built on? Do you know?
me? not, well,
Go-
GoDaddy hosts
We-
it.
Right. That's who hosted ours previously, and it got a little expensive. I don't know if maybe there's even a like if you have a community college or even a high school group that might be looking for some projects to
Yeah,
build their
actually,
resume.
yeah, one of our members' son is, I gave him the codes and he's gonna go in and see if he can just maybe just put our meeting dates and our speakers out there, kind of dabble in it. So that's kind of where we're
Sure.
at, but I just need to get a better handle on it.
Sure. Do you guys
And-
also do social media?
Yes, my social media person is 100% amazing. Amazing.
And that goes a
She's
long
awesome.
way, honestly. If your social media is good and active and has the necessary information, that goes a long way, even if you don't have a website.
Yeah.
Angela, do you happen to know when that Wix sale is going, when it expires?
Well, let me look on my computer.
Because I'm thinking maybe that's something we should put in the buzz for anyone that may be in the same boat that Mary is.
Is it WICKS? Is that
WIX. And it's when
W?
you upgrade to one of their premium sites. Let me just see if I can find it. I mean, because normally the basic premium site is around $34 a month. But again, they were having a 50% off sale. And then if you commit to multiple years, you're able to get that even lower. So I was able to get it for like $12 a month by saying, hey, I'm going to do it for 3 years. Because we knew that we would, and we always build it into our budget. Trying to find the plans here.
Well, if you want to do some, if you come up with anything that we can put out
Sure.
to the members, that would be great, because maybe there's someone else too that's struggling with cost. Can't really do a whole lot, Mary, on the building part of it, but the cost, that might help.
Right. No, thank you. And I want to say I love these meetings because it's wonderful to share with other people what you're struggling with, and we all help each other.
I
A-
just
and
looked at this and it looks like the sale is over. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
oh well.
Mary, we use Network Solutions at Upper Perk. It's pretty user friendly.
Network Solutions. Oh, I've
Um,
heard of them. Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what we pay. I think we pay every couple years, just like Angela, and it's a couple $100. But I can find out. I actually I handle the Upper Perk website. It's pretty easy, but yeah, I can, if you want to talk afterwards or another day this
Yeah,
week.
I don't know
show
that
you how
I'm
we-
looking, I don't know that I'm looking right now to change the hosting or any of that stuff. I'm looking more for, the meat and potatoes of the site.
Getting it put together and
Mhm.
update
Well, or
it.
updating
because-
it, updating
yeah,
it. What's out there
okay.
is good, but it just needs, we have our locally grown showcase fundraiser for this year, and that needs to get out there. Our speakers need to get out there. And it's the getting out there that's the issue.
What we all need are younger members who do that kind of thing.
Yes. Yes.
It's second nature for them.
You know,
But
I
thank
did
you.
write
This
down,
is,
I do kind of take notes off of some feedback, and I did write down, um, if we can kind of do some outreach and find anybody that may be able to pull together something for convention. Not that we could go into a full web design, because we all know that takes years of schooling, but if there's any tips and tricks, or if there's any web service that's a little bit easier for not doing the programming. But let me kind of take that one away, as something maybe we could look at for convention.
And maybe we
Okay.
do have a few members, statewide who do that kind of thing, who might be willing, who are independent contractors or who might be willing to, have a side gig helping individual.
Great
Cool.
idea.
And that's that's kind of what I'm hoping for is if, or even if they, if we can help each other out,
Mhm.
because that's kind of, that's the goal of this meeting too. It's not just for you to come and be able to ask questions, because that's certainly a priority, but also to find, we can kind of help each other out. So good question, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you.
What else is on everybody's mind?
How we get new members. I mean,
Okay.
we have I'm from Greensburg, the Greensburg local, and we have 18 adult members, 2 student members, so that's good. But with the 18, there are a few who never ever come. They were active in the past, or they really live away, but they still maintain their membership. But when you're talking about the same 12 or 13 people to do everything, this is my second year as president of Greensburg, and it looks like I might have to be president again. It's like, and I understand. I mean, there are people, we have a number of retirees in our group, but we also have several members who are still gainfully employed full time, and they just don't have the time to do it. They just don't. And it's hard finding someone. It's, we kind of rotate through the same people for all kinds of things. I don't know what you do.
It
And I know
is
it's
tough.
not just this group. It's every organization I belong to.
It is. And I mean, in a way that makes me feel better to know, that it's not just us.
Right, but
But right. I mean, you know, that's one thing that as I've gone around, and even as other executive officers have gone around, we hear the same things, Pat. I mean, everybody struggles to bring people in. I will tell you, I want to share one thing. I got an email from Donna Metler, who is our membership chair at the state level. And we really need to have Wellsboro come and discuss what they're doing, because they have brought in 23, you heard me, 23 new members this year. Does that blow your mind?
yeah,
It blew my mind when I read it, because I thought, wow, we have 25 members in our club, so that would be doubling our club if we could do the same. I will tell you that one thing. Now, this isn't going to help solve right now. We are going to do a membership. I'm not calling them workshops. I'm calling them table topics, so that we can kind of talk about at convention. Sorry, you don't live in my head. We're going to talk about what other people are doing, some of the things that have gone well, some things that we can try. But here's what I'm going to say to you, and I want you to encourage all of your members. Be open to the fact that you're not going to be in your same little group. We're going to mix everybody up. So that way you're hearing different ideas. You're not hearing the same things from the same people that you work with each month. And I know that makes some people a little uncomfortable, but I really believe this is the best approach for us. And Donna and her crew are going to coordinate all those answers that you discuss, and then they'll go out to everybody. So that's coming. I am working with a gal she does a lot with networking. She does a lot with direct sales companies, and she's going to come to Winter Board hopefully, she's trying to make her schedule work. She's going to come to winter board and discuss like how to network and maybe bring in some people through just networking at other events and other things that you attend. So that's coming too. I mean, anyone have any other thoughts or suggestions?
I think it's real important that the membership chair in each local is a really strong member, who has a passion for it, truly. I mean, because, there have been years when Latrobe has had huge numbers of new members also, and this year is not one of them. And I'm not saying that our person isn't strong, but it's a matter of how you're putting it out there and just getting the general membership excited to want to keep inviting people, because we don't have a lot of guests anymore like we used to. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. And I think we're all just kind of, I don't know, stuck, trying to still rebound from when we were all not meeting because of COVID. But it's simple as really your members asking somebody they know who may not have been to a meeting. And I'll admit, I have not been as on top of that as I used to be. I don't think I've had one single guest this whole year. And back in the days when we've had tremendous growth, that those were the reasons, is that we simply were just asking someone who hadn't been. It doesn't have to be
That's
any fancy promotion. It's just, hey, have you heard about it? Or, and people, a lot of people I know, like where I work and in other things that I do, know that I do this. And I don't stop and say, hey, do you want
want
to
to
come?
come?
I don't know why I don't, like, but they all know, like they see when we have stuff in the paper, my name's always on there. But they, I need to get better about that. And I think as a grassroots thing, it's as simple as that.
I really do think, Angela, you hit it there. You know, even if you think about, and I know that when I say this, you're all gonna, and Pat already kind of hit on it, that we all recycle back through. I mean, Donna, you're going back through as district director right now, and I know that there are many other presidents or district directors that we keep getting cycled back through because we don't have people stepping forward. And it's kind of the same thing. I'm looking at both, new members, new leaders. Sometimes you just have to ask that question of, hey, did you consider becoming president, or did you consider coming and joining us? I know that a lot of times our December meeting is no business. It's we come and we just have a good time, and we try to invite people to that meeting because they kind of get to see what the culture's like. And if you haven't asked somebody recently, I'd encourage you to do that. Because a lot of times once they come and attend, they're like, wow, we had a new member this year. We decorate our courthouse balcony every year, put a Christmas tree up, put the lights around the balcony. And she came for the first time. It's the first year she's been a member through December. And she said, I drove past the courthouse every single year and thought, wow, how pretty. But I never knew who did it. So, and she was so excited that and she took pictures of herself with the tree and put it up on her Facebook. And she said, if you've ever driven past our courthouse and wondered who did this, BPW is the one that did it. So, it takes one of those experiences to then kind of spill out into a demographic or a friends group, so to speak, that has never been exposed to it.
Mhm.
Any other thoughts or ideas? If you don't have any now, I would encourage you to keep thinking. This is a topic that comes up just about every meeting, and it's an important one because we're all looking for that fresh perspective uh, on what we can do. So keep thinking. Don't, keep bringing them to this meeting, or like I said, we're going to do that at convention too. So
Hi, Michelle. I have unmuted myself from my lurking status.
okay.
The one thing I would say is if you are going to bring newer members or prospective members to a meeting, maybe don't make it a meeting that is very
Long.
parliamentary procedure heavy. For some reason, whenever you start showing how the sausage is made, it kind of scares people, thinking that all we ever do is, must do this. Da, 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 da. You can make Robert's rules suit your aesthetic, your meeting type, your thing like that, but probably not when you're doing your bylaws changes. That would not be a good time.
We also kind of shy away from, not that we tell them they can't, but September is our first meeting of the year. And I don't know about you all, but that's a heavy meeting because we're all talking about a lot of stuff and it's a long meeting. And if someone comes to that meeting and thinks every single meeting's going to be like that, it's not a typical display of what we do. So, Vanessa, I saw that you had your hand up too.
I did. I guess my thought is, because we struggle with this and we're going to do the PBDW program, hopefully as a springboard, but I think just leadership development, I think, would be a nice separate program that could be added maybe to the PPDW program, or maybe just as a standalone program. And maybe it's just a short-term, program that we have. But I think I look at our group and there's a lot of potential there. But how do you develop that potential? And that all goes back into leadership development. And that's
Good point.
my thought.
And that's, Patty, I'm coming to you next.
Sure.
I love having these meetings and hearing where you all want to see things be developed, because that's how we're going to move this organization. So thank you. We will think on that and figure out what we can do. So Patty, you're up next.
So it's the same situation with all of us. We are 34 members, which is wonderful, but we have 11 to 12 that come, and we have like 4 or 5 that do the same. Again, we rotate everything. I was president for 2 years. The president-elect had a stroke. So of course, and I was hoping I could mentor her. I bumped back to vice president, figured I would mentor her. So you're not alone. But my next meeting, especially with the weather, I'm having Nancy Werner speak on foundation, and she offered a Zoom option. Well, I jumped right on it. It's February. People are not coming out in the winter. So one of these question and answer meetings, one local was doing a meeting every other month, and then something community based in between. I love that idea. I don't know that we can, launch that quite yet because I don't have the engagement, but I'm really hoping with this Zoom option of one meeting, I really want to get the word out about foundation, because people really, I really just learned more about it at convention, So
Right.
I think if and Nancy had her account, but I understand reading that there is an account that if we wanted to, through BPW, have a meeting. So I think this has helped me understand our resources. And so I'm really excited. I feel like at least our February meeting, I'll get the word out to more people about foundation. And we're not having any business that night. It's a Zoom. So in a way we're, you know what I mean? So I'll, stay tuned. I'll let you know that how many people hop on Zoom versus the little bit we're getting, at the meetings. But thanks for all your help. It helps.
Absolutely. And one thing that I want to share with all of you is, while this is named the local president's Q&A, it's for anybody.
Mhm.
That email went out to the entire membership that are signed up for our distribution. So, and I'm sorry, we kind of, the holidays kind of get things a little muddied, and before we knew it, we're like, oh, we didn't do a January Zoom yet. So the notice wasn't quite as, we like to get it out much sooner. But please encourage your members that if they say, I'm not sure if I want to do a president, or I want to get into any of the officer roles at our local, encourage them to come to this. And, there's enough of us that have done all these different roles. We can answer their questions. That's the great thing about Zoom. Jen, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, maybe something that we can offer, because we could really use this on happy hour that we distributed as really a membership event. And maybe what I'm thinking, just take it a step further, because I'm sure maybe some people still don't know what to do with those boxes, is that maybe we break it down and have a Zoom to plan these and maybe walk people. Angela, what do you think? Because I would absolutely ask you to jump in on this.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but
Yeah.
it can be a little intimidating if you have never done it, or you think it has to be, this big flashy thing. It's really about gathering and, bringing some attention to a very important topic and then bringing others into it. So yeah, I'm for that.
So maybe
I
we'll
do
set that
concur.
up. We'll get that out, and we'll do another Zoom, just to do another question and answer just on that event if people aren't sure where to
Sure,
start. We can
sure.
guide them. And then something else that Michelle and I talked about the other day was doing a Zoom for our members who may be interested in moving into a leadership position, have questions to ask, things like that. And what we would do is almost do a panel, ask some people with membership experience, maybe experience in each position, to join us. And then we would have somebody who has expertise in every position on the meeting to answer questions about what positions are open, and how to take on a leadership role, and what that would entail. So if you guys think that's a good idea too, we could, do that in the next 2 months.
Absolutely.
Just to jump on with this unhappy hour, my local took the, I guess, took the stand that, do we really need to do it on March 12th or 14th or whatever? So what we're going to do is that we are actually going to have unhappy hour at the end of our PPDW program. So we will have like 3 mocktails that we will offer, and we'll use that box. So we'll have some signs up and we'll have everything. And we're hoping, that everybody will invite at least one guest, to this program. So I think too, just my opinion, it doesn't have to be on the day or in the month, because it's an everyday 24/7 thing that's in our lives. So I don't know, that's what we're doing. I just throw that out there because maybe if somebody has an activity, it might spark an idea of like, oh yeah, we could do that too.
It's calling awareness to it, whether you're doing it on the specific day or not. That's the whole reason behind it. Let's call awareness. Let's get this. I've heard some of the younger folks say, well, no, everybody gets paid equally, and they don't see it. They don't see it like those of us that have been in the workforce for a while. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What else is on your mind? Go ahead, Pat.
In conjunction with what you were just talking about, I think there's a certain, especially among corporations, corporation mentality that one does not discuss one's wages with coworkers. I mean, and many companies discourage doing that. Well, if you don't know what somebody else may, I know someone who is a judge on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and when she first started working, she didn't realize until a few years later, after one of her coworkers had left and gone somewhere else, that she was making considerably less than he was. But she didn't know it, because they didn't talk about it. So that's one thing. And also, depending upon which profession or job category you're in, some professions, women dominate. I mean, teaching profession, everybody, never, when I was a teacher, were you ever, men didn't get paid more than women. I mean, that just wasn't done. You knew what the pay scale was, and that's what pay scale was. Now, there were men who progressed a little bit quicker than women because of their, they moved up to being counselors or being principals or whatever faster than women did when I was still in the workforce. But, the world is changing too. And lots of people, they don't work in a corporate setting. They work in small businesses or they work independently, and that's a whole different ball of wax there.
There is. COVID has really changed things too. I mean, not so much with pay, but I know a lot of our offices now are closed
Mhm.
because they figured they can allow people to work from home and it's more cost efficient for the company. So,
But also, I think sometimes I've seen this with one of my sisters in particular, that uh, because people were working from home, they think they should still be able to work from home. And there are some businesses, job areas where you need to be there. It's very hard for people to work from home,
sure
because
is.
somebody has to be doing the work that's required. For example, if you're a nurse, you can't very well work from home. I mean, you got to see the patients. Somebody's in the office. It depends what your job classification and category happen to be. And some people, and it's not just women, it's men too, they don't do well working from home. They don't work when they're home.
It's an adjustment, I can tell you that. What else, ladies? What else are you seeing in your local, or is there things like as we're coming toward the end of the year, are there things that you're wondering about, or is there anything we can provide some help with? How many are planning on coming to convention? Yay, I love to see that. Good.
I always tell my husband when he starts talking about vacation, this weekend is out.
Yep. We moved it a little bit earlier this year because June 1st fell on a Friday. And if we'd have bumped it to the next weekend, then we're into Father's Day. And I
Mhm.
didn't want people to have to worry about, a lot of us travel home on Sundays, and I didn't want to take you away from your family on an important day. So
Mhm.
It has been on that weekend years ago on Father's Day.
yeah, I asked around before I picked what date, and I just kind of went with what, I mean, my father has passed, but I kind of went with, if he were still here, I would have wanted to be with him that day. And
Mhm.
Right.
I think we're gonna have some good things planned and have some fun, of course. So any other questions, thoughts? Hey Bernie, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm sorry I joined later. I'm down here in Florida and my computer has not worked since I got here.
Oh.
And I saw the email connector on my phone. I'm watching the football game. I thought, oh, damn. I ran in. I'm trying to get it on my computer, but I can't. So I tried to get it on my phone. So what did I miss before I finally got on 10 minutes ago? Anything interesting?
We kind of went through, so we were talking a little bit about the unhappy hour here with that coming up, and we gave those boxes out each
Yeah,
of the,
Oh, my
Yep,
girls
you
are
would've-
they're all excited about that. They're going to a bar. I'm not gonna be there. They're going to some bar and they're gonna put the little signs up and invite friends, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I told them do whatever they wanted.
Yep. So we talked about that. We talked about a reminder about winter board, that the registration's open for that. Talked about convention registration is open. We are looking at the state level. We did not receive any nominations for the treasurer or the recording secretary. And then we just said about a reminder with the contest that they'll be coming up soon, and ask if anyone needed had any questions or needed any support with that. So,
Finance chair is Mary Jane, right? Mary
Yes.
Jane. Have you
Yes.
been in touch with her? I see Marissa's on this, because Mary Jane and I had a long talk. Because I did express at my district meeting that raising the convention fees, and I think I did mention this to you, Michelle, at the ecumenical.
yes, you did.
I think raising the convention fees is a killer. No one in my local is going to go to convention because they cannot afford it. I'm the only one that's going to go. And they tell me that the fees keep going up, hotel rates are increasing, food prices are up, and we all know that. This is not unusual, but they say they just cannot do that. And so I talked to Mary Jane. I talked to Jean. I talked to Kathy Casilla. I looked at the financial policies for the finance chair and all that stuff. And Mary Jane she agreed. She said she thought, she said she was appalled really that we approved increasing the convention registration fees with $285,000 in the bank. If in fact this organization is defunct in 5 years, which, you know, it could very well be because things are falling. I can't find a Hallmark store here in Florida. They've all closed. I mean, everybody buys everything online. No one goes shopping. So, you know, there's nothing to say that we're going to be around in 5 years. And we got all this money. I think we should be making it available to our membership. When the CDs come, what are we saving it for? When a CD comes due, and I asked Jean about this, she said there isn't going to be one until next year. And I said, well, if it's not going to come until next year, this is the perfect year for us to go in and make a change here. Maybe make a bylaws change or financial policy change that says this CD could be put into a convention fund. And you know, for the past 2 years, the conventions have run over. They have not made enough money, and we've run in the red. So why are we looking at this $285,000 sitting there, and I can't get a member to come to convention because they can't afford it? So it seems to me that something, and Mary Jane, she was completely in agreement with it, and she was going to have a meeting with Marissa and Kathy as her committee, her finance committee, and I'm hoping that they get together and come up with some kind of a proposal to have an account. Maybe take one of those, you know, $20,000 CDs or whatever and stick it into a convention account, and you figure that you won't, the convention registration is going to be $35 and the state will pick up the rest. From my perspective, and past state presidents, you know, anybody on the board, you got the board dinner, you got the Friday night event, you got the banquet dinner, a hotel room. It costs you $500 to go to convention.
Oh, more.
Or more. And my girls just, they don't even want to hear about it. They say, okay, it's state convention. I can't even promote it because none of them can afford it. And I know in District 3, we had an issue. We had a thing last year where you could get $100 bump up if you were a first time attendee. My guys couldn't even do that because that wasn't
200.
enough to do it. Pardon me?
It's 200, Bernie.
Well, whatever. I'm sorry, Angela, but whatever. Which I think is a good, which was wonderful. And I tried to promote that and told them that that was available, but they just cannot afford it. And the young
But-
people with children and things like that, I understand that. But, you know,
It is hard. It's hard for a personal budget. It's hard for, you know, I get it. I get that, you know, people see this amount of money out there and things like that. And right now, because convention, everything has already been approved for this year. So,
Change.
you know, it's kind
yeah,
of
but we can still have action, or we can work on it for next year so that there's something.
correct.
Like I said, I just hope that the finance committee puts their heads together and comes up with something, because I really think it needs to be done. You know,
Can I ask
think
you a question?
I think you need something in the sock. You always do, but with an organization, what could come up that we would use it? You know, if you're a homeowner, you got a plumbing issue, you need a new roof, you know, this or that. So you need that slush. What do we need all that slush for in BPW? And
Well,
what's your question?
You know what?
Wait, can I ask a question, Jen? And then, so our local puts aside, I think it's $600, and we divide that amongst however many people are going. Now, of course, some years, you know, the years that you host, you have a lot more people going. So that stipend back, I guess you could call it, is less. Last year, I think it was, our district then voted to also do something similar, that the district would then kick in some money and we do the same thing. So do you do anything like that to kind of help?
No, I can't.
No.
We don't, you know, with meals and dues, my dues are they're $35. You know, we were delighted to take that nice reduction when we weren't involved in national, because national took 65. We were paying $100 when you add and district dues are like nothing, you know, so that's
Right.
not an issue. But
Well, I'll tell you,
that's a thought we could, you know, but you can't really do a fundraiser and say it's to bump up the finances to so we can go to convention. You know, you can use it
right.
as a scholarship thing, but you can't very well say, oh, it's for us to use. I mean, you know, people are
Well,
chastised for that kind of thing.
I'll share with you, our dues were 25. We bumped it up to 30. We only have 25 members. So we're not one of these bigger locals, but we make it work that $600 is there every year as everybody gets a share. So maybe take a look at it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's a total solution, Bernie, but it maybe give you a part of something that would help out. Jen, I'm sorry, just wanted to kind of ask that before I forgot, because you know how my brain is, sometimes it just goes.
I think Bernie, you're spot on, and it's something it's not just talked about at your local, and there's other locals that are feeling the same pinch, that want to have more members there, but their members can't afford it. And it's also agree that the funds for convention every year have to keep going up because the cost of food, cost of room,
Sure.
the food and beverages rates that they're giving us right now are astronomical, that
Oh, they're
Oh,
ridiculous.
absolutely.
and even if we don't meet them, we still have to pay that money now.
That's
So how
right.
can we meet them? So, and again, this is a massive conversation that is not going to be complete in 8 minutes. But what I do think would be a good idea to continue the conversation is maybe an ad hoc committee to look at our convention as a whole, to how we can cut cost, maybe make it more centrally located instead of on one side or the other, whatever that is. There's been so many things thrown out to the EC in the last few months, and they keep asking us to consider different things, and maybe a committee would be best of people who are experienced in planning events and things like that we have in our own organization, to see how we can have the best 3-day event and be cost effective to our members, and whether that is move money into a grant and offer that, whatever that looks like. I think it would be something worth exploring. So thanks for starting the conversation again, Bernie, because
Yeah,
we,
well, it just grated on me because I thought, what are we doing with all this money sitting out there? What are we doing with it? We're not active. We're not taking chunks of it and using it to support political candidates. We're not using it to support, equal rights movements. We're just not, it's just sitting there, and so if we're not going to use it, then we ought to funnel it back into our members and have more things for the members to use.
Go ahead, Pat.
I understand that everything costs more and it gets ridiculous. But I really feel that any organization needs to have, you use the term sock, Bernie, that, a sock full or under the mattress or in the
Sure.
bank amount of money. I think we make a mistake when we think, oh, we can live closer to the edge, and we just, spend it on ourselves. First of all, we are not a service organization. So anything we give out in terms of scholarships or, our projects, that's wonderful. And that gets us in front of other people and maybe gets us new members. But that's not the point of this organization. At least that was never my understanding of why we have Business Interprofessional Women. It is more to take care of our own members. And we're not a political organization. And I don't think we should have been in the past a political organization. But when there's a downturn in the economy, even though things are supposedly getting better, I don't think they are. But, you have to have a rainy day fund. That's what really was the ultimate downfall of the national organization, because they had a convention at a time when many people were out of work and unemployed, and we just lost our shirts, and we didn't
Well-
have money to cover it.
Well, the thing of it, the National had the
Building.
2012 building, and they had an executive director, and they had, everybody in our organization works for nothing. We're all volunteers. We've done it for free. We have all coughed up our own money for stuff and have never received dime one.
Right.
And I'm not complaining about that, but
But things-
years ago, the past state president was on the board and never got a thing. And
Yes.
now at least we get miles, but I did, how much do you need? You could have 150,000 in there, which would be
Still, I mean, maybe that's the
cushion.
kind of person I am. I still
Well,
have
but
this
like I say, what
depression
about
mentality,
I know,
even
but
though I wasn't alive.
my thing is, what's our expenses? Like I said, we're not homeowners. We don't have to worry about having a hurricane come in and our roof blow off, or we don't have to worry about a sewerage problem, or, any of that stuff that a
We're not
homeowner
owners.
has to worry about, that you need more of a slush. We're just an organization, for crying out loud. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox.
But everything, any hotel you go to, any banquet you attend, everything is more expensive.
So and we've
Let me give you
always,
a nice little example.
right, and it's
I belong
always
to
been a
a-
wash.
Like
It's
a
always
girls'
been-
night out group, but it's really, there are 6 of us.
Yeah.
5 of us were BPW members at one time or other, or still are. I'm the only one who still is, from the North Hills of Pittsburgh, because we no longer have a local in our area. But I always bring, when we have a luncheon at someone's house, I always bring the almond torte because I don't want to cook. All right. In the fall, I just happen to have those receipts in front of me. In the fall, the almond torte was $19.99. Just bought one 2 weeks ago. that tort, same size tort, same store, was $25.99. I couldn't believe the difference. I thought, it's a $6 increase. But on something that was $20, now I'm paying almost 26. But that's
know.
so true of groceries, or when you go to, sometimes you're not even in a nice hotel. Sometimes if you're traveling, the rates are up, the food is up,
Yeah, I'm just hoping
Everything
that the
is.
finance committee
everything.
puts something together and brings it to the winter board, and
No,
then
I
we can,
understand, and I agree, it's
we
very
can do
hard.
something at the convention.
Yeah, it's very hard for someone who is working full time. First of all, you've got to take a day off, at least one day off, right? Friday, if you work Monday through Fridays, maybe more, depending upon what your work schedule is or what you do for a living. It's hard. And then what do you? One of the ladies in our group, she has several dogs. She said, I can't afford to go to convention. I'd have to hire a babysitter, a pet sitter for my dogs. They're older dogs. They need to take medication. I can't afford to board them. I'd have to have somebody come in, and that gets very expensive. I don't know what you do. And I think in our organization, especially years ago, a lot of people worked for banks or worked for companies where they would pay not only your membership dues, they would pay for your dinners. And if you wanted to go to convention, they would give you a stipend towards that. Well, that doesn't happen anymore.
It didn't happen years ago either. My company, I was lucky I was able to juggle my vacation days. I convinced my boss when I was state president, I convinced my boss to let me take half-day vacations so that I could leave early to drive to the meetings and not have to take a whole day. And he said I could do it as long as I kept track of it, because he wasn't going to keep track of it. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna be quiet. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and I think we're all sensitive to it. We all know that there's many facets to this, and it's being discussed. And unfortunately, as much as we'd like to on some of these things just be able to snap our fingers and have the magic answer, we're just not there yet. But we're getting there. So, just be patient with us, and we're working on it. Just know that it's been a topic of discussion on many occasions. So, we're getting there. So, well, ladies, it is 8 o'clock, and I did say we try to keep these to an hour. So, any last comments, questions, or any topics you want to see in the future that we can add to our list? Go ahead, Pat.
Angela, does who got our box? Was that Kathy? Does she have it? Who has?
Kathy or Marilyn would have brought it back, and they should have given it to you. So I can't answer for what happened to it when they left with it.
Okay.
You're welcome, Vanessa.
Oh.
Well, ladies, if you think of anything, we will get the unhappy hours Zoom question and answer. We'll try to get that scheduled for very early in February, and that will probably serve as our monthly Q&A. And then, of course, winter board is right
February
after
or March?
February. So that way you have time to plan it.
Oh, next year, you mean? Oh, okay.
So, and then winter board will be March. So we probably will not have one then, but then we'll regroup in April and May. So just to kind of give you a forecast of what's coming. Thanks for jumping on. Hey, at least we didn't have to go out in the cold. We could sit in our warm houses and get to spend some time with some BPW ladies. Yeah, Bernie.
I wanted to thank Angela for the response thing that you sent today. I can't bring it up on my computer, but I saw it on my phone. So
what I send?
Pardon me?
What did I send?
You sent the answers to the questionnaire thingy that,
Oh, the redistricting thing.
yeah, yeah. And
You're welcome.
I ran through it on my phone, but I can't get it on the computer. It's just awful. I hate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You again.
Well, ladies, stay warm and we'll see you next month.
All right, thank you.
See ya.
Have a good evening.
Goodbye.
Thank you.